all finding time for yourselves and your families in these very difficult and stressful times for principals in all schools. Éibhear is my name and I'm principal of Voskull. We're a city centre school in Limerick City with over 600 pupils. We're a Google school. We chose Zoom right from the very start of the COVID-19 break back in March because of its ease of use and accessibility for all. Google Meet, I suppose, even though we are a Google school, just didn't have the same functionality and accessibility as we found with Zoom. So I suppose we've been in there from the start. Like all of you, I suppose I found the last few months very, very challenging and all-consuming. But I suppose the reason I'm here this evening for a few minutes is just to share my story with you as to why I feel Zoom is going to be a key tool, I suppose, for me and for our school as we face a very uncertain, if you like, academic year ahead. Communication for me is a hugely important part of the times that we are living in. And in terms of that, I suppose how and when and what we communicate to our pupils and to our staff and to our parents is a key part of the year that is ahead for us, because everybody needs to be kept in the loop. Everybody needs to be a part of the journey, and everybody needs to be communicated in a very clear and in a very coherent way. And I suppose Zoom is going to be a very, very important part of that for us in our school for the year ahead at least, and certainly beyond that, given my experiences, I suppose, with Zoom this year. I'm just going to talk about 2 or 3 aspects that we used, and I'm not going to give more than a minute to each. Zoom webinar for us has been absolutely fantastic. We ran a webinar for our parents at the end of June just to thank them for everything that they had done for us in supporting their pupils, our pupils, if you like, and their kids during March, April, May and June. Over 65% of our parents turned up to the webinar, and we told them we'd be running one again the end of August before we went back to school as a back to school webinar. And we did that. We ran a webinar on the Thursday night before we were back in school on Tuesday, the 1st of September. Over 78% of our parents turned up to the webinar, which was well in excess of 300 families. And we also recorded the webinar and sent a link to the webinar out on Aladdin, and the webinar got 400 views on Aladdin, which was staggering, to be honest. And the feedback we got from it was absolutely incredible. Various teachers gave different presentations around our back to school routines, arrival dismissal times, all that sort of stuff. And the parents were so appreciative. The webinar really helped to ease everybody's anxiety. For us as a school, it was great because we got the same message out to all our families at the exact same time. There was no miscommunication of messages. It was all very, very clear. And we got our feedback on the night as well through the polls. We took questions in the Q&A and we answered those on the spot as well, live. And you know, it was a great tool for us. I was overwhelmed, to be honest, and the one thing that's kept me going for the last 7 or 8 days has been the positive energy and feedback from the parents in terms of how we've communicated with them over the last couple of weeks. Because like every other school, we used Aladdin, we sent home messages, we used videos and all that sort of stuff. But the one thing we did differently was Zoom webinar, and it was absolutely huge for us. Going forward, we're going to continue using Zoom webinars. We've adopted Google Classroom and Seesaw across the school, Google Classroom for the older classes and Seesaw across the school. And we're going to use Zoom webinar to run information sessions for parents on how to use Seesaw and Google Classroom at home if it's needed. It's almost like we're going to be homeschooling the parents for the next couple of weeks, to be honest with you, using Zoom webinar, because we need to bring them with us, if you like, on this journey that's just constantly meandering. The other idea, it's an idea we got from a secondary school actually here in Limerick. It wasn't your school, Leo, but another school in Limerick, secondary school, ran a school assembly on Zoom last week. And we thought it was a fantastic idea, and it's something we're going to adopt. It was actually one of my colleagues said it to me because she has a kid in the school. So basically, it's just about the principal and deputy principal running a meeting on Zoom and sending the link out to all the teachers in their various classrooms around the school, so that the teachers, myself and the deputy principal and other teachers, can address every classroom in the school at the same time. So if it's like a safe way of having a school assembly, because you don't need to bring everybody to the hall, but you can deliver the same message to all the classes across the school at the same time, because all the teachers just log in using their projectors and their interactive screens. Various teachers get to deliver different messages to the classes there and then at the same time. And we're also going to use it for pupils in different classes to, if you like, run a kind of a school news section and hand that job to different classes each week. So I thought it was a great idea because, as you know, visiting classes and having various people going around to the classrooms with messages at the moment isn't a great idea in terms of mixing bubbles. And even for myself, having to visit all the classes takes like 6 or 8 or 10 minutes per class. Multiplied by 24 classes, it takes 2 or 3 days to do it. Using Zoom, I can get the whole school done in 10 or 15 minutes, which is just going to be a huge time saver for me. The other thing I'd say about Zoom going forward, I suppose, is in terms of remote teaching. It's going to be a great tool for staff members who are in the high risk category who can't come to work. We all have teachers or will have at some stage teachers who are in that category. I certainly do, and I've got pupils who can't come to school at the moment for various reasons. So we're going to use Zoom as a way of communicating and, if you like, remote teaching those kids for the next few months, but also for classes who might get sent home during COVID-19, or any teachers who get sent home, that they'll be able to use Zoom as a tool to use literally to move seamlessly from the classroom straight across to Zoom the following morning if classes do get sent home for 2 weeks, which has happened in a few schools in the Midwest in the last week. Leo mentioned the 10 uses there of Zoom. I mean, the uses of Zoom are endless. The other big one for me, I suppose, is staff meetings. I'm very nervous about bringing a staff of over 40 people into a hall in the school at the moment, given the numbers around Limerick in particular at the moment. I have had meetings with staff in small groups, but I've told the staff, and they're all happy about the idea, that all our staff meetings this year, when we're all together, are going to be on Zoom, because it's the safest way, and to be honest, it's the most effective and the most efficient way of holding staff meetings. When we have staff meetings on Zoom, we use the polls for getting people to give us their feedback, and we also get faster decision makings because we use the Zoom breakouts as well. So look, they're just some of the ideas. I mean, all our parent meetings, our CPD, all that is going to happen on Zoom this year. Leo has mentioned all the benefits, and the uses of Zoom are just endless, to be honest.